Well, first of all, let us apologize for not believing in this wild card weekend. We should have known, just like the rest of the season, it delivered with all the chaos, all the craziness. Man, sorry if you are a Chargers fan. That game was just brutal. But
Yeah.
we got so much to talk about. We got some great divisional matchups. Some might say we got the eight best teams from each division ready to go. So, hold on. That makes no sense. Eight teams from each division. Some might say we got the final four best teams from each division. So, let's get into it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, get it locked in. It's nickel and dime. Uh, I talk about eating my words. Last week I said might save the fireworks for the divisional round, Sean, but wild card weekend was like, no. We got some matchups for you. And boy, did it
Yeah.
deliver. It started off like I thought we were going to. 49ers took care of business.
hmm
But man, that night game, night one, was like, oh, you think, oh, what's up? You said wild card weekend ain't gonna be
Yeah.
fun. Okay.
Yeah. It was definitely a nice little nightcap if you happen to stay around for it because
Yeah.
it got late very early and did it not disappoint? The just like the NFL to kind of lull you into a sleep. They usually come out with a bang, but even the games that you think are going to be duds wind up giving you big drama, capitalizing on those ratings. Drew, they did it all weekend.
No, I loved it, man. Because I thought for sure it was going to be the teams we thought were going to win. We're going to win. Done deal. But man, I I didn't see the Giants. You know what? Let's go ahead and get into the recap because I got a lot of thoughts on these
We
games.
got a lot to say about them.
Let's spread it out. So first off, San Francisco takes care of Seattle 41-23. Mr. Purdy
Yeah.
18 for 30, 332 yards, three touchdowns. CMC caught one of those touchdowns and ran for 119 yards.
Yes. Yeah, he did. He just efficient, man. He's
Yeah.
efficient. And at this point, man, and I don't know. I guess you give me your thoughts on San Fran after this, but they look like the strongest team in the playoffs on the NFC side. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? On the
yeah.
NFC side, definitely the strongest team, in my opinion, continuing to trend up at the right time.
It scares me how fun that defense looks like they're having. Every time they're out
Yeah.
there just wrecking shop, just putting quarterbacks on the ground. They are hyped and they're good at
Yeah.
it.
They really are. And they have guys who not only is Bosa still continuing to wreck games and get pressure, but it doesn't have to necessarily be sacks because Charles Omenihu was the guy with two sacks in that game.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. So, and then you had secondary players like uncommon names, not your Fred Warners, but Diamador Lenore. Love saying that name with the pick. And that's the crazy thing, man. And Greenlaw had eight tackles. I mean, they're flying all over the place. They're multiple on offense. Brandon Ayuk, contributing with a paltry 73 yards, Drew, while Debo Samuel back in a big way with 133. So those guys are continuing to roll early, and they're only going to play in bigger games, and they look ready for it.
I know, man. I'm excited. We get the classic San Fran Dallas matchup up next. It takes me back to like early 2000, late 90s, early 2000s, watching Madden on Fox,
Yeah.
hanging out at with the family. It was great.
The biggest one I remember, just a quick before you get into it more, is 1994, man. 1994 when San Fran wound up winning that Super Bowl. Dallas versus San Fran, and I want to say it was the championship game, and a lot of Hall of Famers, a lot of stars on that field in that game too.
Yeah, man. Uh, we got to talk about the collapse that was the Chargers. Jacksonville comes back from down 0 to 27 and win 31-30. Trevor Lawrence threw the
Man,
4 picks in the first half, came back with a vengeance, 288 yards, 4 touchdowns. Samuel, on the other end, had 3 of those picks. He was just snatching. A lot of those throws looked okay. He was just snatching them out of dude's hands.
yeah, yeah, it was kind of crazy, but like, and shout to Asante Samuel Jr., man, because like this guy is an undersized corner.
He
And what
said, no,
and
no.
us on this show, yes, we have been on him for quite some time, legacy player, but it was all for naught, man, because Trevor Lawrence, man, when he threw those 4 picks, Drew, I thought it was a wrap. I thought it
Yeah.
was a wrap. Did not see 4 TDs coming. What I do love though is how much he got Evan Ingram involved. And honestly, Evan Ingram was the most consistent player throughout, and it was the receivers who had to follow his lead, catching the passes in the second half. But it was Evan Ingram really that kind of got it moving. Travis Etienne finally figured out how to do some things again
Right, right.
later on in the game.
Yeah,
You know,
helped his boy out a little bit. Good guy.
we Drew, speak to the Chargers though, man. Like, what do you think happened? Because like looking at it, uh, they really didn't do a lot, like
Mm-mm.
offensively, man. Like,
It you could tell Mike Williams wasn't there, and you
yeah,
could tell that Jacksonville knew to key in on Eckler, and I think their whole game plan was to get the ball to Eckler. And when Jacksonville
mm,
kind of shut that down, they're like, "Okay, you got us." Like
yeah.
they didn't have the what's next part of it.
No, they did not at all. And what was more surprising to me is how focused it was with Mike Evans, excuse me, Mike Evans, talking to you, Keenan Allen, but with
Little
Mike
slip there.
Williams gone. Yeah, with Mike Williams gone, I was wondering. I figured they would feature Keenan Allen more. Now he still has 6 for 61, but
Yeah,
it was Gerald Everett. This is a game of tight ends, like Gerald Everett, who actually 6 for 109. This was his best game of the season, I
yeah.
believe, or one of them. So I think you're right. They tried to key in. They did. They did. The Jacksonville defense effectively stopped Austin Eckler. Like he had 2 TDs, but 35 yards. I mean, I would
Right.
take more. I think if he had 1 TD and more yards, Chargers win the game.
Oh, hands down, they were able to run it down. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for housekeeping notes because the Chargers already laid down the blame, and it wasn't the head coach like a lot of people thought.
Man, what a collapse, man. Can you remember a collapse like this on such a big stage?
I
Like off the top of
do,
your head?
I do remember the Bills Titans game as a young. I mean Oilers, I guess when they were back then, but I remember that collapse in the playoffs.
Mm,
But I was very like just getting into like focusing on games and paying
focusing.
attention. Yeah,
Right, right, right.
but that's about it, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess I would have to go back and watch the Minnesota Miracle game because I don't know if that was a big lead comeback. We all know how it ended, but I can't
Right,
remember
right.
what the
For some
specifics of
reason,
it
I
were
want to
from
say it
Tom
wasn't a
Thompson.
high scoring game before all that madness, though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I could be wrong.
got you.
Memories. As we get older, we lose more and more.
Yes, we do.
Well, Skylar Thompson almost made a memory because he had the Miami Dolphins humming, had them playing against Buffalo. Buffalo hangs on.
Man.
Uh, Josh Allen, 23 for 39, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Cook got a rushing touchdown, but Dolphins put
Yeah.
up way more of a fight than I expected.
I think well, they put up way more of a fight than all of us expected, and the way that this game went early, this was kind of a a speedy game. I mean, just basically, looking at it, each team had a lot of possessions, but Buffalo, they didn't look like the team that you thought you were going to see coming in to this game. I don't know if they were sleeping through Miami, figuring they were getting Skylar Thompson led
Yeah.
offense and they weren't going to do much. Miami they've looked very inconsistent, but credit to Mike McDaniel, he had the people that were out there, he had them ready to play. So Skylar Thompson, he did what he could, but ultimately it just didn't work out in the end. And the interceptions, I mean, they didn't help. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if he was able to just have one less turnover, a better play here or there, you're talking about a bigger upset than the Chargers going out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that Buffalo team. So I don't know, man. This one they let it slip. And I'll kick it to you on this. I heard I didn't see the video, but apparently Sean McDermott gave those boys a little lip service after the game in the locker room. So that is
He
honestly
looked
what was
very
probably
upset on the
needed.
sidelines.
Yeah,
Very upset.
yeah.
But
That
no,
honestly, that's what I would want out of my coach, Drew.
yeah, yeah. You don't
Playing
ever,
a
you
game
don't
like
ever want to
that.
be in the room. Like I still have flashbacks of when I was on the team getting yelled at by coaches like that. I remember
Right.
one time we had a baseball coach. We committed so many errors in an inning, he threw our water jug onto the field. I don't miss those days. But as a fan,
Man.
I'm like, man, he better light him up at halftime. So
Do you think it's worse to be in the room or like just outside where you can hear everything?
nah, if you're just outside, you can walk away. You can be like, all right, enough. But if you're in the
That's
room,
true.
you got to
That's
make
true.
eye contact every now and then. You don't want to you don't want to get singled out even more. I've had my
Yeah,
head down
not
at one of
yeah.
those yellings, and the coach been like, "Look at me," like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Sean color me surprised. Vikings out in the first round. Was this Kirk Cousins' fault?
Drew, no, it was not. No, it was not. And of course, it wasn't Kirk Cousins' fault because then the narrative would have been the same. But now we have even more turmoil. Is it Kirk? Is it ultimately Kirk's fault? Is it the defense's fault? Where does
Yeah,
the fix need to happen? That's the big question, and of course it is because the drama that is the NFL. So who
the
knows what they're going to do
drama.
next season? But Drew, I mean, it can't be Kirk's fault, man. He missed 8 passes through 2 TDs,
Yeah,
sub 300 yards. But I mean, that kind of efficiency, it's definitely not Kirk's fault. What the bigger question is what happened in the defensive side of the ball.
I think what happened was Daniel Jones happened. 24 for 35, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. Barkley said me too, and he got 2 touchdowns as well. That duo all year has been counted out and betted against, and they've just doubled down. And might some might say the undisputed tag team champions of the NFL right now. They're on a hot streak.
I would love it if those two were the tag team champions of the world. That man, that would be I would be like that would be something I would wake up with a bowl of cereal on Saturday morning for
Right,
right
right.
there.
Saturday main
Listen,
event.
but what's more interesting about that with the Daniel Jones thing, kicking to your point a little bit more, Drew, is that we just talked about how Kirk Cousins was that efficient, only missing 8 passes. Daniel Jones was the more efficient quarterback in this game.
No, I agree with you. I think the defense let him down. But as Minnesota, front office, like where do you go? You got a young coach. You obviously he did good things, had a great regular season. Is Kurt got one more year? Did he do a 2 year, or do they
I
have to
think
re up Kurt?
no, I think he may have I think he may have one more year. Let me check real quick.
And then we got vets like Patrick, Peterson. You got that linebacker core. Got a lot of big questions on who they bring back, where they go in the draft, all that good stuff.
Right. Nah, so looking at it now, man, just to get back to your point, he did sign a 1 year. So he's an unrestricted free agent after this for the 2024 season for what it looks like. according to Spotrac. So, man,
Ooh, would you roll
yeah.
with Kirk or would you roll the dice on like a car or a Garoppolo?
Well, considering like the
Maybe a
head
Trey
coach,
Lance.
right? Maybe he might be out there. What we look coming into this year, he did sign that deal, but he at least has to be in the mix because talking about having a recency bias, Kirk Cousins was not the reason that they lost the game. We just talked about it. So, that's going to be fresh on people's minds as far as him weighing against other people who you may bring in. Depending on what if the offense is going to change at all, if they're going to add some speed at receiver, maybe you do bring in somebody who can maybe be a little bit more mobile, be a little bit more dual threat. However, I don't think it's going to be Derek Carr because Derek Carr, he doesn't have a rocket like Kirk Cousins does. For as many as ills as Kirk Cousins has, Derek Carr's arm is less than Kirk Cousins. So,
Ooh, I like it. I like it. And now on to the next one. The Giants play the Eagles, number one seed.
man,
Uh, Back over into the AFC, Cincinnati. They let the Ravens hang around, but shut the door there at the end.
they do.
Burrow 209 yards, touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. And then Hubbard needing the oxygen mask after that 98-yard fumble recovery touchdown.
Man,
My man was as happy as he could be though.
he could. What a way to walk off like that. But man, I mean, talking about the walk off weekend, giving this big drama, Drew. A couple milliseconds, maybe a half of a split hair, and the game is completely different. Like they're going to overtime, or excuse me, Baltimore's winning the game.
Yeah.
You know the
What
Huntley,
terrible time management there at the end of the game. You had
yes,
two touchdowns. You let good 20 seconds come off the clock. You could add more plays.
you could have, and that's coaching. I mean, little decisions like that. Um,
Again, stay tuned for housekeeping notes. More blame has been handed down.
oh man,
No,
man, but
'tis the season of firings, and we got them all for you.
Drew, for as bad as Tyler Huntley looked in the first half, I mean, he threw the pick, but that he to turn it around and get that team back to where, and I think to back to where they needed to be, have a chance to win the game, especially considering what he had been playing like before he got injured wasn't the greatest for him to have them on the cusp. Drew, considering the way that he played at this point, I don't know. I'm not sure what Tyler Huntley's contract situation being like, but I would honestly take Tyler Huntley over, say, Zach Wilson right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, some of those Baltimore players disagree. Don't want him around anymore. So that was rough. If we would have had a real, I mean, I think it was more of a standing behind Lamar than a hating on Huntley kind of thing. So
Sure, because well, that whole contract situation will play itself out, and we're gonna see that right before our eyes. But I'll let you. We'll wait for housekeeping notes to talk a little bit more about that.
yeah, because that's number one on housekeeping notes is the
Mm.
drama that's unfolding there. Well, Sean, the floor is yours. Your team bowed out in the first round this year, losing to the Cowboys 31-14. Prescott, 305 yards, 4 touchdowns. Uh, the downside of the Cowboys, they did have the 4 missed extra points, and we'll talk about
Mm.
that in housekeeping as well. But the
Man,
floor is yours, sir. How do you feel about the game? Where do you go from here? All that good stuff.
man, there's I mean, Dallas won. Dallas did what they needed to do. They were due for a playoff win. I mean, hadn't won a road playoff game since 1992, so they were due. The better team won, and this I really like looking back on it. Shouldn't have expected anything different. They have been up and down all
Yeah.
year long. I don't know why I thought we were going to get the best of the team after seeing that the way they beat the Carolina Panthers, and then basically punted against the Atlanta Falcons for the most part.
Yeah.
Which hindsight could be 2020. Maybe they should have played their starters in that game and they'd have been and keep it going. But they've been so up and down. So it wasn't, even though I believe this was largely an inept offense who ultimately doomed the team, Dak threw them 4 touchdowns, man. So the defense, they had been leaky in spots at point this season, and they just showed it. And I think it seems like, man, I'll be like, it really seems to me that team quit. Like they knew,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man. Like, is that what you want? Y'all supposed to be Super Bowl champs, and that's how you playing? Like, it was so much finger pointing and people looking for somebody else to be the spark, and it just wasn't. That's not how I want. And they need to find themselves, to be honest. So shout out to Dallas, shout out to the NFC East for still being around. But
Right.
to say all that, they needed to see what they needed to see from Dak. Like if I was Dallas, I would be concerned because this wasn't the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers that you faced. This was
Right.
the 8 and 9 2022 Buccaneers. And had we had a better offense, like I mean, I don't know that y'all would have won the game. You know what I mean? So like I would not. You won great, and you have another opportunity, but you didn't really beat a strong team.
Well, a lot of questions about to get answered for that Dallas team because they're playing arguably the hottest team in football up
Yep.
next. So
Don't be surprised if you get waxed.
you heard it here first. Well, we know who Sean's picking in the box. Okay, let's get into some housekeeping notes, the news and rumblings of the NFL. We said number one, Lamar. Lamar leaving Baltimore? Question mark, because his tweets are saying so. He's got his emo kid lyrics on Twitter
No.
about how Baltimore didn't take care of him, and I mean rightfully so. So,
Yeah.
do you
Drew,
see a scenario where Baltimore lets Lamar walk out of here?
no. They're gonna throw the money at him like they, and this is to my larger point, but like they should have done a year, maybe 2 years ago.
Right.
And I don't understand why more, because eventually the money talks and they wind up signing and everything winds up being hunky dory and roses. However, if I'm a player and having a little bit of a petty streak like I do, if you don't offer me first, that already tells me that you might not want me. Like if you
Yeah.
have questions, if I'm your franchise quarterback and you say you were all in, offer me now.
Right. Prove
You
it.
know,
You can
prove it.
talk all you want to. I
That's
need
what I'm
to I
saying.
need to see it.
So like yeah, and the money is what the money is, but we all know that somebody's going to eventually pay Lamar. Why shouldn't it be you first? Why shouldn't you be
Your
at the
whole
table
team's
first?
built around this dude.
Yep, yep.
Can you really
So
afford to let him walk away?
no, unless they're going to have drastic changes. I don't know what the offense coordinator. I think he, might be out of there. I don't know, or I think he retired, something like that.
No,
But either I'll
he
let you.
well that's number two. Ravens offensive coordinator Roman resigns his position.
There you go. So like, I guess we can kind of lump this in together, but if they're going to drastically switch up the offense, maybe they do let him go. Obviously, Drew has alluded to what the players want. So,
And RG3 tweeted out today that he was the reason wide receivers didn't want to come to Baltimore. Him and his scheme. He's like, it never was about Lamar. It was about the style that Roman plays.
well,
So,
maybe so. That's what I'm saying.
I
But
mean, we're
if
gonna be
I,
the scapegoat. Be the scapegoat.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. How do you feel, Drew? I mean, if I'm Lamar, I'm signing elsewhere. How do you feel about it? What do you think he
I
should do?
mean, I think it's going to be too painful to try to sign elsewhere because if they don't sign anything, he's getting tagged.
Mhm.
So, I
Yeah,
mean, do you really turn it into? I think if he was going to demand a trade, he would have done so already.
yeah. And in the end, like for as much as we talk about it, I think that's what's happening is like the logic plays out. They come to an impasse, and they wind up franchise tagging them. And again, if I'm Lamar, I'm just like, all right, well, franchise tag me until you and Kirk Cousins me because I'm not signing a long term deal with you.
Yeah, I'm done. Like,
Yeah,
go ahead and let me know when we can
yeah.
end this
They've
drama.
had plenty of time to sign him. So if I'm Lamar, I think he's in the right that he should feel a little some type of way.
Right. Yeah. Chargers fire offensive coordinator Lombardi, and also there a couple more coaches, including a pass game coordinator. So Chargers are like, whole offense is out of here.
Yeah, Drew, do you think if they were just able to muster say three more points that the offensive people would have stayed, you
I
know?
definitely don't think they'd get fired if they were still playing. So this is on
Yeah.
them. You want to
Yeah.
you want to keep your job, keep playing, and we're not. So you're fired.
And the crazy thing about it is I don't necessarily know it being a Chargers watcher from afar, I didn't notice that the offense wasn't putting up points. I mean, Herbert's obviously taking his team to the playoffs. Austin Eckler was a touchdown machine. I think he won a lot of fantasy championships this year.
Yeah.
Mike Williams was an emerging threat this year and became the best receiver on that team. So
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened there. You know,
Everyone lost their job. That's what
there
happened.
you were about to lose your job.
Yeah. Browns hire Schwartz as their new defensive coordinator. So Schwartz is back in the league.
Back in the league, good, great defensive coordinator.
Got a big chunk of Bucks stuff here. Bucks fire offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich.
See ya, see ya. Get out of here.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah.
Brady taking it one day at a time. Future unknown for now.
Yeah, that can go either way, man. I'll be perfectly honest. Like if he comes back, great. But just like I was last season, like my mind is already. You are delaying the inevitable, Drew.
Right,
Like it,
right,
he's
right,
going
right.
to retire.
You
We're
got
gonna
to
have
see
to
what the
figure this
future
stuff
is.
out. Yeah. So like, if that time is now, so be it. Let's figure this thing out to figure out what we're gonna,
Yeah,
how we're gonna get back to a Super Bowl post Brady.
yeah.
If Brady
Yo,
comes back, then the window stays open for another year. But I don't know, man. I'm
you
up in
ready
the air
for
with it.
post? You ready for post Brady?
To be honest, I really am. I really am. Now, if he comes, oh, we're gonna welcome him back with open arms,
Right.
and let's
Well,
go.
that you also got to get okay saying you have a 46-year-old quarterback
Right? Who has limitations at this point?
and is
You
starting to
know,
show it more and more.
more and more. We got to
Yeah,
protect him. We need if he
yeah.
comes back. I want at least 2 to 3 new starters on the offensive line. Donovan Smith needs to go. Bad tape out there on Donovan Smith this past game. Bad tape. Bad tape.
Mm. Bucks Russell Gage is released from the hospital. He had a concussion and a neck injury. He says he's doing good.
That's good. He just had a crappy year, man. And you hate to beat somebody while they're down or whatever. Glad that he's healthy. Ineffective this year.
Yeah,
Waste of a contract. Like he was injured, didn't produce when he was on the field. Started to pick up some finally started to pick up some steam, and then the injury happened. So just a crappy year for him all around.
yeah. More firings. Dolphins fire defensive coordinator Boyer after 3 seasons. So Dolphins blaming the defense while the Ravens blaming the offense.
Man, man, Dolphins defense kept them in a lot of games. Got some
Yeah.
stars on that, so maybe it is right. Maybe put them in better positions. We'll see what happens.
Teams are starting to interview Peyton. Sources think it's going to take at least a first round pick as compensation to the Saints. So, what team's willing to give up a first round pick? I hope it's not the Panthers.
This whole situation is very interesting to me. Uh, and I'm gonna let you speak on this, but just to give my 2 cents, I don't think the Panthers are happening because this is a division rival. Um, but would Tepper give up a first round pick? I think he would.
He would in a
So
heartbeat. That's why I don't
yeah,
trust him.
mm,
We need to lock up the draft picks from Tepper. Like someone else needs those codes.
yeah, yeah. Take the
But
nuclear codes away
but
from him.
who? We don't have a coach, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
How is the hierarchy looking for you right now though?
I mean,
Panther
I'm
land.
I'm I'm worried how little we're hearing about Wilkes. I thought it was kind of a you got to get blown away or else it's Wilkes kind of scenario. But
Mm-hmm.
every news I hear is like, and we're bringing in so and so, and I'm like,
Yeah. Which has to kind of irk him a little bit too.
oh, for sure. Like we're not respecting what that man did with nothing at the end of the year. So I don't know. It's looking like Dorsey from what I'm sitting. Like I don't know where my brain's going.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like that's why we're drawing out a little bit because the Bills are still in it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what my heart tells me.
No, honestly, it's not a good sign for Wilkes because if it was, I feel like it would be more smoke uh leading to a fire.
Yeah, I feel like if we were like, that's our dude, hire him.
Yeah.
Harbaugh is returning to Michigan though, so that's nice as long as it's not him.
Mr. Always a bridesmaid, man.
No, thank you. NFC East is the first division since 1997 to have three teams in the divisional round.
I hate y'all.
Hey, they went from worst to first, man. Let them have a little something.
I respect it. I respect it. I'm just hating.
Last year, they're like, "Can someone have a 500 record? Anybody?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Cardinals hire Titans executive Monty Osenfort as their new GM.
All right. All right. Well, I'm sure he's been around. I'm sure he has a pedigree and a
Sure.
long resume. Don't know
Yeah.
who he is. Don't know
Yeah.
who he is.
Bengals left tackle Jonah Williams dislocated kneecap is week to week.
He ain't playing. He
Ben
is
said it's
not
some
playing.
playoffs and play and tape it up. I'll be
Man,
fine.
you better put a shot in that thing. Nah, man, go sit down, Jonah. Go sit down.
Yeah.
Matter of
Old
fact,
ball coach.
that was that was I remember seeing him getting beat pretty bad couple of times in that game. So maybe that's what it was ultimately going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, but man, yeah, just take a seat. Dislocate kneecap.
Yeah. And last housekeeping notes, it's just a funny one. Dallas signs Vizcaino as a backup kicker insurance. He's on the practice squad in case they need him.
They're going to activate two kickers for this
Yeah.
game. Guaranteed. Jerry
Yeah.
will activate two kickers for this game.
I did
Sorry to
like
the
I did feel good about when Dak was losing his mind. Someone was like, "Man, he wasn't throwing his helmet when you were throwing them picks. Sit down."
team game. It's a team game. Yeah, so that is funny. Like what I was gonna say is sorry to the sad sap who they wound up inactivating, making them inactive for the game to take that second spot for that second kicker.
Hey,
So
we need a second kicker, man. I'm sorry.
yeah, I have to basically dash your dreams because the kicker missed 4 extra points last week. So
But my mama's coming.
not now.
All right, so let's get into three and out where we ask the tough questions.
Man, all right, I'm gonna take first down on this one.
Please do. Go
Yeah.
for it.
So, Drew, we talked about a lot of different changes. So much change to come, right? So, looking ahead to the 2024 season, what is the one thing on your mind that you think will have a huge impact? The one change could be a coach being at a new team, quarterback on a new team, new scheme, whatever it is. In your mind, what is the one biggest change that you believe will happen that we don't have right now in the 2024 season?
I mean, dare I say, we might have an NFL without Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. How crazy would that be? The
That
Packers
would be
might
weird.
might have to look to their next chapter.
You're
The
right.
Bucks have to figure out where they're going, but
Yeah.
it's a strong possibility. I know we kind of felt a little bit this way last year. At least, I don't know when Brady retired last year, but it might be one of those where it's one of those things where every quarterback still in the playoffs is under 28.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I'm just excited. We got a brand new breed of superstars. And the old guards it started when the Mannings retired and Big Ben's out of
Mm,
here. And
yeah.
now the last couple of them are getting out of here. And it's a brand new league and a more athletic quarterback and a more dynamic offense. And as long as they can keep it safe, man, I'm excited about this new style of football that we're looking at.
That's a good point. It will be very weird without those two Hall of Famers still wrecking shop, taking up playoff spots, but it would
Hey,
be
one
different.
didn't.
Yeah, one didn't. Usher talking about ushering the way out. So and Brady
Oh,
was out in the first round. So
yeah.
it would be interesting to
It's
see.
a young man's game, Sean.
Could be likely to happen. Could be likely to happen. All right, Drew, what you got for me on second down?
All right, kind of in the same vein, man. Looking a little bit towards the off season and next year. Can you tell both our teams are out of it? Second down, Sean Brian Daboll has completely turned around these Giants.
Right.
Give me a coach who you could see kind of doing the same thing for his new team.
I like it. I like that. I like that a lot. I so and again, I guess before I answer your question, like I was thinking about Nick Sirianni, but nobody's talking about him because he's the number one seed and how much we laughed at this dude.
Man still looks like he gets zero sleep.
Yeah, he does. He does. Which is why Sean McVay is actually talking about resigning or retiring for at least what the future holds. Man, if I had to a new coach on a new team that I think is going to have the same type of impact, I I'm looking at all teams here. I'm probably going to go with the Houston Texans because there's nowhere they can go but up. And in my favor, it's rare that a team gets the number one pick or has a top three pick 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you, Jacksonville. Uh,
They had
but so I think like it's got to be the Houston Texans for me because I feel like that team for is interesting as they looked at times to put it lightly. I think that they can win more than 2 games next year. So start building that team back. It's not the flashy pick. It's not the flashy pick, but I think it's got to be the Houston
give me a
Texans
coach you'd like to see land there.
coach. Oh, I think, and I'm hearing the same thing. I think if the enemy goes there, I think that that would make them very interesting. I think that would be one of the opportunities that he should get. He should be getting a lot of opportunities, but I think that'll be
Yeah.
an opportunity that put it this way, the Houston Texans should be interested in him
Yeah.
if he hasn't already interviewed because I think he
Yeah.
did an interview with somebody, might have been the Colts
Gotcha.
or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Drew, on third down, to put it simply, man, looking ahead to this divisional matchup weekend, we have 8 teams. Give me a non-quarterback who will be the MVP of this weekend and the reason why their team is on to the championship round.
Ooh, okay. I got a weird feeling that Jamar Chase is about to go off. I feel
Mm,
like he's just gonna have one of those games.
yeah.
Like, because I think he's tired of people being like Justin Jefferson this, Justin Jefferson that.
Mm,
That man is about to be like, I'm still playing.
yeah.
Let me
And
leave a mark real quick.
he didn't have the breakout game last weekend. So I feel like he should be due. So that's a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
That is a pretty
I
good
also,
choice.
you said it earlier, Ingram, if he could have another monster game for the Jaguars,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
could be interesting.
It could be interesting. It could be interesting.
All right.
All right. What we got
Fourth,
on fourth down, man?
fourth down, man, not to pour salt in the wounds, but play Bucks GM. Give me 3 moves you make right now.
Three moves I make.
If you could.
Yeah. 3 moves I make right now. I'm moving on from Donovan Smith, or I'm moving Donovan Smith to left guard, basically. Trying to find I'm moving Tristan
So
Wirfs
adding
to
depth.
yeah, this is honestly one move to me. But I'm moving Tristan.
That
I'm
can
moving
count as one move.
Tristan Wirfs to the left side
Okay.
and Donovan Smith to the right side, or I'm finding a better right tackle in the draft, something like that, or moving Donovan Smith to left guard.
So
So that's
offensive line
offensive
shifting.
line shuffling. Got to shuffle the
Okay.
offensive line.
Okay.
They already did the obvious thing in firing the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I know you
Um,
were a fan.
yeah, definitely. Uh, man, I need speed.
Okay.
So it may be dumb, but at some point, like in the top 3 rounds, I'm taking a receiver. I'm taking a
Okay.
receiver.
Just
Uh,
you going with a nice mix, but you're going for speed. You said
yeah,
you want a deep
we
threat.
got to get some more speed.
Okay,
At least to pair with Godwin and Evans. I think
gotcha.
you saw what Antonio Brown did for his team. An old Antonio Brown, right? Still
Yeah.
elite speed though. So
Yeah.
um
That guy.
they've yeah, man, there's so many moves I honestly want to make. Um I gotta get another secondary player. I need a linebacker. I need some more defensive line help because the jury's out on Joe Tryon Shoyinka. Uh and largely depending on what Brady does, man, I might need a quarterback. We
Yeah.
need a
Yeah.
quarterback to be waiting in the wings at least. And within Bucks Lane, just a peek behind the curtain here, the jury is split on whether Kyle Trask is going to
I
do
was going to
anything.
ask you how you feeling on Trask.
I'm still one of the Bucks fans that are in his corner,
Okay.
but it's basically 50-50 split. Like people are like find a quarterback now, and people are like, let's figure out what Trask
Yeah.
is going to
Yeah.
do. So the Bucks got a lot of moves to make, man, and that's why I said earlier the next chapter I'd be okay with starting because I want to see where the dust settles.
That's
You know,
fair. You got a lot of hope for the future
yeah, man,
and a lot of uncertainty at the same time.
exactly.
All right, let's talk these matchups. It's the divisional rounds. We'll just go in order, which starts off with the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Kansas City Chiefs. How you feeling about this matchup?
Man, hey, should we while we talk about these games, should we just pick our locks on these games right after we finish talking about them?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, man, I think we'll throw a little mix up there, actually. Throw a
Okay.
little
All
mix
right.
up there,
All right.
actually. So, Drew, man, uh, this is, I mean, Jacksonville has to go on the road, but I don't think that it can go any worse for Jacksonville. Like they
Right.
can't, like they for them to be a team who is that young for this their first opportunity, it went about as bad as it can go, right?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing they do have on their side right away
Right.
is Asante Samuel Jr. does not play for the Kansas City Chiefs.
This is very true. This is very true.
So that's huge.
Yes. Yeah. I'm and the Chiefs, I wonder what they look like after a week off. I mean, history suggests they'll look like the Chiefs.
Yeah,
A
they'll be fine.
a thriving
They've
offense,
been
you
waiting
know.
for this, man. I can see Travis Kelsey and Mahomes sitting at Mahomes' fire pit, smoking a cigar,
Yeah.
just planning, scheming. Like they'll be fine.
Yeah.
And he's bringing over cheeseburgers later. They'll be fine.
What I can't say, Drew, is now I don't know if this is my hate talking, but I cannot see Travis Kelsey with a cigar after the game. I think that this is Jacksonville's time. The Chiefs, they've been impressing people this season.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed. I'm
Okay.
not impressed.
Okay.
They've looked strong at times. Their defense has been
Are
spotty at
you
times, but
are you
also
saying
has
what I think you're saying?
looked spotty at times. Drew, like I said, it could not have started worse for Jacksonville. Not only did it not start, it could not have started any worse, but they pulled themselves out of it in the same game.
Yeah.
I think that shows me something. They're going on the road. I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars
I was gonna. It's like he's
the
almost
Kansas City
pulling the
Chiefs.
trigger. Is he pulling the
Yeah,
trigger?
I think the Jackson. There's something. I think that it's not going to go the way Chiefs fans or think it's going to go. Like
Okay.
they believe they're going to roll over this team. I don't think so.
That's
It's
good.
going to be a fight.
That's fair. I still going with the Chiefs here. I think
Yeah,
they play for this. You know, we can question them during the regular season, but this is when they show up, and they got to score to settle with whoever's up next. You know, they got to score to settle with the Bills, who beat them in the regular season. They got to score to settle with the Bengals, who's been getting the best of them lately. So I think the Chiefs. The only thing I can see is don't stumble looking at what's next. Take care of the Jacksonville
that's
Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence.
that's what I was going to say.
But I think they have that that eagerness to win the next game, fueling them past the Jaguars this round.
And that's why I think Jacksonville thinks that too. That's how the Chiefs feel, that they have scores to settle and they're overlooking them. And that Jacksonville defense is something fierce, man.
Yeah,
Like they
Josh
are
Allen.
not to be trifled with. And Trayvon Walker, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Andre Cisco,
yeah.
and you know, like they've got something to say, man. So I think that this young team being able to do what they did last week, and now I believe that's going to galvanize them because it really is the world against them right now. Nobody thinks they're going to win this game except me.
That's Jacksonville's thing. They love feeling like that.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be an interesting game, man. So I got
Duval.
Jaguars, you got Chiefs.
All right.
What we talking about next? Where we going?
It is the New York Giants going into Philly and playing the Eagles.
How
Jalen
nervous
Hurts is
is
not on the
Philadelphia?
injury report
He is
anymore.
not. Nah, he is not. No, he is not. I saw a picture of him wearing his own jersey. That man's confident.
Who's more nervous, the Eagles fans or the Eagles PD if they win?
Man, I would say Eagles
Or
fans.
the Philly
For
PD? My bad.
yeah, yeah. For I would say the Eagles fans because there's been so much talk this past week about Daniel Jones and you still Drew and I'll kick it to you on this, man, but like you still can't put your finger on what it is that the how the Giants win. You
They
you
don't
don't
know how they
know.
win.
That's exactly, but they win.
Dayball knows that's about the only
Yeah,
one.
they
He's
do
the
what
only
they need to
one.
do
He's
to
like,
win,
I'll never
man.
tell.
So I don't know. I mean, they are such a wild card. They are the epitome of a wild card team. And I believe the last time that they were a wild card team, they won the whole damn thing.
Yeah, man. Every time I bet against them this year, they win.
Yeah.
So that scares me.
Yes. Now, to Philadelphia's credit, they are the number one seed. I think Jalen Hurts will have those boys poised to play just because
They
of his
have the
demeanor.
better team on paper,
Yeah.
but that has
Yeah.
not stopped the Giants at all this year.
Nope.
So who
Nope.
you going with? Who's winning this game? Well, you know what? You went first last time. I'll take the bullet this time. I'm going Eagles.
Going Eagles. Going Eagles. Looking at it, man, I can see the Eagles pulling this game out too. I gotta go with my head on this one.
I worry about them
Um,
next round, but I think they win this
yeah, I think Eagles will get through this game. Yeah,
one.
it'll be a honestly, this is a disappointment if they don't win this game. If the
Yeah,
Eagles don't win this game, then they should be disappointed in themselves, and their team is not as strong as they project as they showed all year long.
yeah. All right. What up next? What could be the matchup of the week? It's the Cincinnati Bengals at Buffalo Bills. It's in Buffalo. Some might argue that it deserved to be a neutral site, but we get the matchup that we've been wanting, the
Yeah,
matchup that big questions asked, who's going to have more of the emotional boost? Because last week it kind of looked like the Bengals got more of a little boost from Hamlin doing better than the Bills did.
yeah.
So it's the Bengals at Bills. Sean, give me a matchup you look forward to in this game.
So, Drew, I honestly am really looking forward to the wide receiver versus secondary matchup. Um, and you talked about Jamar Chase, this being a potential for him to really just solidify himself as the number one receiver in the league. Even though Justin Jefferson, I think, is that guy now. But he has that opportunity. The Buffalo secondary, Trey White has been back. Jordan Poyer's coming up on a free agency year, man. So like this is a
Trying to
chance to
play.
make himself some money.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think, that's gonna largely dictate who wins the game. I think the wide receivers versus the secondary, because Cincinnati is a wide receiver led team. So
Yeah.
that's where it starts and ends for me.
No, I like it, man. I want to see. I mean, I'm not even going to ask you who has a run game because we know neither one of them are going to run the ball. So,
I like well, I like I like Mixon better in that category for
to
sure.
catch the ball out of the backfield, I guess. Both these teams going to have
Yeah.
about 40 yards, and half of them are going to be from their quarterback. But who you got? Who you got locked in? Who you win? Who's winning this game?
For this matchup, man, I am taking. Hmm, can they right the ship? Is the question. Depending on how they win. No, I don't think they can. I'm taking Cincinnati. I'm taking
Oh,
Cincinnati.
okay.
I think this is going to be a continuation of what ultimately would have happened when they played, uh, when DeMar Hamlin went down. unfortunately. But man, Joe Swag Burrow, man. I'm taking Burrow in this one. Another disappointing season for the Buffalo Bills, ending for the
Nice,
Buffalo Bills.
nice. I'm going Bills. I think they dig deep on this one. They figure it out.
Yeah,
That defense, it all comes down to I feel like the Bills defense is a little bit better than Cincinnati's.
yeah.
And
So
don't get me
wait,
wrong,
this
it's going to come down to who has the ball last.
all right. So this is Drew. I know I'm definitely going with San Francisco, but
Yeah.
Drew probably is too. So that means Drew is taking all the favorites this week:
Am I?
Kansas
Oh
City,
no.
Philly,
Oh, I am.
Buffalo,
Oh no.
and San Francisco.
Oh
And San Francisco.
no. Hey, sometimes the favorites got to
Uh,
win. Sometimes the favorites got to
I
win.
mean, for there, so just one of the favorites is not going to win here. Yeah, I mean,
No, I know.
I feel it in my bones. I don't know which one is going to be. Like,
I mean,
if
I
that's the
had
case, but 25%.
full disclosure, I had the Bengals winning too, but for the sake of the show and arguments,
Okay, all
I
right.
went with the
Peek,
Bills. But
peek behind the curtain
I'm
here.
I'm saying if I think a favorite's going to lose, I feel like it's going to be Buffalo.
Okay, all right,
Also,
all right.
I also like I said, man, something's telling me the Giants. You know what? I've talked myself into it. I'm switching my pick. I'm
Oh,
picking the
wow.
Giants.
I could definitely see that game too. And I am
I mean, what have I got to
hot.
lose? I'm not winning anything.
That's true. That's true. Swing for the fences, man. Swing for
Yeah.
the fences. And that's the crazy thing, Drew, is because like I feel like there's only so much luck in the
Yeah,
weekend. And Trevor Lawrence took it all. That's why Tom Brady didn't have
all
any.
of it.
Uh so I think that the luck, in my opinion, is probably going to go to Jacksonville more, but there's something about that New York Philadelphia game that I
Scares
am
me. It
not
worries me. I feel
sure
like
about.
I
Yeah.
feel like the Eagles aren't worried enough, and I feel like the Giants are playing too good right now.
Yep. Yep. And that's kind of how I feel about Jacksonville sans that whole first
That's
half.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know. So
Well, we kind of skimmed over it. What do the Cowboys have to do to have a chance against the 49ers?
Dak has to play perfect. Dak has to play perfect. The running, we talked about this before. You have to be perfect to beat San Francisco. Quarterback has to not throw picks, has to throw 300 yards, has to throw for at least two touchdowns. The running game has to get figured out. They better figure out that mix, ride the hot hand. If it's me, Pollard is the starter and Zeke comes in the spell. They need to get somebody more involved in CD Lamb,
Yeah.
somebody, and
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz because the
I don't
San
think
Fran,
Noah Brown's that number two that they
yeah,
think.
the San Francisco defense can easily take away two people,
Yeah.
easily, you know. So and the offensive line has got to protect. They were looking a little banged up, and they got to make the field goals. So Dallas has to. That's so many things. That's so
Go
many
ahead and
things that
put
they need to do.
Vizcaino in a uniform.
That's what I'm saying. That's so many
Yeah.
things that they need to do, and I just can't see the thing that I don't think people will see coming. I actually alluded to last week, and that's Brock Purdy having a rookie game,
Yeah.
which I think is very
Yeah.
possible, and it could sink the whole ship. Sink the
Good.
whole ship.
Whole thing. The SS San Francisco. Go down with that ship.
He's due for one. I'm
He
telling you,
is. He is.
he's due.
Now, please, for the sake of the universe and the world, don't let it be against Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh
Listen,
God. Oh,
man. I mean,
I don't want a Giants Cowboys NFC Championship game. I don't want an Eagles
disgusting.
Cowboys NFC Championship.
If that happens, I mean I'm
Team
AFC
AFC.
all
And I
through with
never
it.
am,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no, me neither. Yeah. But
oh man.
whatever.
All right. Well, we got some great games to watch. Shawn, where can they find you?
At the Kid Suds on Twitter, man. At nickel underscore dom FB on Twitter. At nickel underscore dom football difference on Instagram. True. Where can they find you at, man?
At Laugh with Harrison on Instagram. Just stay locked in here. We got you to the Super Bowl. It's gonna be a good one. Got some great teams left. Get it locked in. Subscribe now. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.